Hi all, I'm Libby, proud captain of Millwall Lionesses. Thank you to our Millwall fan show from the No One Likes Us Talking team for sponsoring me this year. Make sure you give them a listen like I do. Or even better, why not sponsor a Lioness while you're at it like they do? Thank you always for your continued support.
This podcast is a proud member of the Fan Hub 100. Football without fans is nothing, so we've partnered with Fan Hub to put fans first. Search Fan Hub app to play your part in the journey.
Hi, I'm Bethany Warren, and you are joining me to listen to the podcast of our Millwall fan show with the No One Likes Us Talking team, which is available every Friday at 8 p.m.
It is the 20th show of COVID-19 reducing in lockdown 3.0 here in England. I'm your host, Eamonn Barclay, and I have the No One Likes Us Talking team of the man that's just a stone's throw from the New Cross to London Bridge line, Dave Hart. And I also have joining us for the first time since COVID, the guys who, like Philby and McLean, used to meet in a car park incognito. Well, it looked like that, with face masks and latex gloves on, beneath Sainsbury's, at one end of the Crossrail project in the depths of Abbey Wood. And they did this to switch recording equipment for the show. That's in the past and this is now. So we have Stan, the microphone man, Godwin, and Ted, the computer Robinson.
Not everybody likes them, but they don't care.
No idea people were following us, Stan, I tell you.
No, it all happens. It's undercover. Firstly, before I turn to the panel, there are a couple of announcements. The Lions Food Hub, based in the Rennie and Manor Estate Tenants and Residents Association Hall in Bermondsey, are looking for food and financial support. To help them, you can find a Lions Food Hub on Twitter and Facebook, or enter Lions Food Hub Banquet. That's a BANKUET. So banquet without a Q, but with a K. Enter your browser and make a one-off or regular donation. We talk at the Proper Blokes Club every week on the show and say that founder Scott Johnson is working to remove the stigma surrounding men's mental health with walk and talk groups. Well, here is Jeremy BM, a member of the group, telling us why he joined them.
Someone earlier today mentioned to me that something apparently King David said, and it rang true for me so well I just thought I'd pinch his words. After waiting patiently, he turned to me and he heard my cry. He lifted me out of the pit, out of the mud and the mire, and he set my feet on a rock. He gave me a firm place to stand. And that summed up the group for me. Many of us have waited for someone to talk or listen. And then in this group, blokes will turn to you and they will hear you. And they will try and help lift you out of any mental pit or mud that you're in. They'll do their best to set your feet on a rock and give you a firm place to stand.
Very good. And Jeremy also told us what joining the group is like.
It doesn't matter if you live in the area or not, come along. If you want a safe place to just chat about anything, nothing, it doesn't really matter to us, whatever. If you want to unload to someone about a pit that you're in, we'll listen without any judgment, whatever your background, whatever your situation, however you got there, don't matter. If you've been through it all, you've come out the other side and you want to support some others, come along, because why wouldn't you? Or if you just want to get out of the house, you just want to walk and you want to talk, that's what it says on the tin. Come along, guys, you know you want to, stay safe.
Thanks, Jeremy. So, guys, go and have a walk and talk either on a Thursday at 6 p.m. or a Sunday at 6:30 p.m. or even do both. It will make a difference. New sessions are happening in Wallington starting the 25th of May, and that's near Croydon, and in Greenwich to be announced soon. Check out their Facebook and Twitter site for details. Well, hello, Ted. Wonderful to have you here with Stan, not in incognito anymore. But the old retain list, that came out, and there was any surprises in that for you?
Not really. I had a feeling that Matt Smith and Alex Pearce would get offered something. So they were the ones that obviously a lot of people were talking about whether they would stay or whether they go. And of course, they still haven't decided. But I thought they would get offered something, because I do think they still both have something to offer the club. I'm getting excited with all that may be happening in the summer. I keep seeing little bits here and there. Gary Rowett today saying about going into the European market, which would be great if we could turn up someone like a Pookie who plays for Norwich. So lots to look forward to with the summer, as usual, Eamonn. Be a few comings and goings, and hopefully come August we'll all be ready for it.
It'll be wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Stan, what about old Skeffington, who was at Barnet, and old Brownie, who was playing up in the Scottish Premiership?
Yeah, I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, I remember, Eamonn, when me and you watched him, Brownie, when he played against, he come on, he was a sub in a cup game, wasn't he? And he took he took the place of the guy who we'd had from Wickham, who's now gone back. And he was on there for a good 60, 70 minutes, I think, and he acquitted himself well. I mean, all right, it was, now he's gone up to Scotland, and I thought to myself, well, perhaps he might go the way of Danny Mack, but apparently, for whatever reason, it's not happened for the kid, and it's sorry, really. I'm sorry to hear that, but in saying that, you never know what's round the corner. I mean, he could leave Millwall, we could walk into another club, and everything just falls into place. And then perhaps 18 months down the road, old Gary Rowett's going to say, why did we ever release him? But that's the way it goes. And I mean, you have to feel sorry for these youngsters when they get released, because I do wonder whether you're going to hear from them again. You don't hear Phil Pott no more. They seem to drift out of it, don't they? Which is a shame, really, because they put a lot of work into it. And at the end of the day, who's to say these coaches are right anyway? I mean, but that's the way it goes. So no, I mean, like Ted, I'm quite optimistic about the future. And the potential signings that we're going to get. And I must admit, though, I was a little bit surprised. I didn't think Pearce would be offered anything, because I thought that would go against his age. I mean, I've got nothing against the bloke, but but they've been offered, and fine. And as Ted says, we don't know whether they're going to accept it yet. No. I think they probably will do. Yeah. And I think Matt Smith's got to come to. He's got to get to grips with the fact that I suspect that if he stays at Millwall this season or in the season coming up, he's not going to be the first name on the team sheet. He might be the first name on the subs bench, but that's the way it goes, isn't it?
Smith for impact. That's what we might see. Yeah. Old Phil Pott, as you mentioned. Yeah, last time out I saw him. He was at Gary Alexander at Glebe. Whether that's come through or not, again, I don't know. Because they've really had a grim time down there with leagues being cancelled twice over now. So be nice to see if he's about still, old Phil Pott. Some of them come through. Dave, looking around the edges of what you saw, is there any worries from those that have gone that we might be letting a bit of a gem go when really we could do with them?
No, I don't honestly think that we've actually. I mean, obviously there are players going in the past that have gone on to be really good, but as the others have said already, I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more from the likes of Conor Mahoney. Who I think has promised a lot, and one way or the other, it just hasn't happened. So it's not his fault, but it's just the way things panned out.
Yeah, he's had injuries and all that. Yeah, it ain't been good for him.
But I think if he comes back fit and his potential is realised, he is going to be a gem in the side. And being optimistic for the future, the signings in the summer, if they materialise, will be really, really great. But we wait and see.
Well, let's just hope next season we don't have the same injury problems we've had this season.
Let's be hopeful, as they say. OK, we'll take a break there and be back with our first guest this evening. But for now, let's listen to what Fantastic Fanatics can offer our club.
Hi, I'm Richard Gordon, and I'd like to invite you to become a Fantastic Fanatic. Fantastic Fanatics is a great way to raise funds for your sports club. Sign up today, find your club, and securely register your everyday debit and credit cards. Every time you spend with our retail partners, they pay a percentage back to your club. It costs you nothing, and you can win cash prizes along the way. Visit fantasticfanatics.com and help your club be the best it can be.
I'm Eamonn Barclay. I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. Some great returns from online shops to our club. Give it a go on Fantastic Fanatics. Our first guest tonight was born in Lewisham. He started his football career as an apprentice at Arsenal. He then moved to Millwall in July 1987 and then to Bradford City in January 1991. He later played in Scotland for Airdrieonians, not too many people can say that, and in Long League football for the Pink and Blues down at Dulwich Hamlet. He and another former Lion, who we had on the show recently, that bubbly character Barry Hales, have also featured for the England veterans, who are 4-time winners of the Seniors World Cup, held annually in Thailand. And for those of us that are old enough, Siam. But this, like so much, was lost to COVID last year. He is also still a familiar face at the Den, where he's a Matchday host alongside Brian Horn and Les Briley. Let's welcome and say hello to Wesley Reid.
Hello, gents. Thank you for that. Very kind. How are you all?
All good, thanks, Wesley.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Evening, Wesley.
Yeah, good, Wes.
Evening, gents.
I'm good too, Wes, as always, in your company.
Thank you, Eamonn.
Wes, it's nearly 2 years since we spoke about your adventure to Thailand with the England veterans, and you lost out on that occasion in the final. Remind us of what happened, and are there any plans to play this year?
Yes, there are plans, first of all, to play this year coming up in 2022. When we last played in 2019, we were actually the holders. We won it in 2018. And we played against Iran in the final, and we lost 2-1. Had quite a good team out, as you said. Barry Hales played. We had Dion Burton and a few other ex-pros. It's a great occasion. It's a two-pronged occasion. Firstly, it's to raise money for the children and schools out in Thailand, and also it's for us who are still serious about football to play football at a high level. I think the Iranian team actually had a player who had played at the previous World Cup. So you can be 38 and over, between 38 and 50 to play. You know, so lots of people at a high level still turn out. And it's a great occasion.
Yeah, we enjoyed the information you sent back on that. And I remember at Love Sport Radio, they covered it a little bit, which was quite nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was good.
I wish you told me a couple of years ago, Wes. I'm a bit past it now, but never mind. I was probably past it then.
You're never ever past it. You probably just slow down a bit, but you're never past it.
Well, I've got to be honest, mate. I don't think I was ever in front of it. But anyway, that's another story. It's been a really tough season for football, Wes, and you know the nation and the world as a whole. It's been a terrific strain on everyone, obviously. But have you got a view about how Millwall have coped, especially this season, without having any fans there? I think we all have the opinion that, and I think I heard someone last night say Everton have won their last couple of games with fans in, whereas they've had a really poor season at home. And I feel the same about Millwall. We've had a poor season at home. But how do you think we've coped in general, mate?
I think no evidence to suggest, it's just a feeling that it's been detrimental to us not having fans. Having not played professionally at the new Den, but at the old Den, it was always a 12th man to have fans. It really was. And for a team like Millwall, which is an area, a place where everything is about the community, and on the way to the ground, you know, you see the fans come, you see them bringing their friends, their family, their children, and it's just that atmosphere when you turn up at the Den at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, whatever time you turn, and as it approaches 3:15, 3:10, 5:3, and they start singing. It's just the lift that it gives the players. I've been in the tunnel doing some stuff when I hear that, and I instantly just stop what I'm doing and think, oh, that's just the lift. And for us not to have that, I think it's been a big loss for us. I think it has been a real big loss. And it's a loss that you just cannot replicate no matter how much you say, well, there is no crowd, go out there and just play. There are some things that are so relevant and prevalent to what you do that once that's taken away, it's a loss that's unexplainable.
Now, I would say though, Wes, I'm sure there was one or two occasions at the old Den when you wish there wasn't any fans there, because we sort of made ourselves felt, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I remember once Teddy tells a story where he was running down the ring and the bloke said, "Sheringham, get that piano off your back." There were times when a few things were said, but you take the rough with the smooth. I would rather have all the fans there and whatever said is said than have none said. It's just it's a feeling that you can't relay. There's nothing like people supporting you. If people support you, naturally as human beings we'll appreciate it and we will work harder.
Evening, Wes. It's Dave here.
Hi, Dave.
The last time I spoke to you was at the end of season dinner, the last end of season dinner, and we had a nice chat there. But
I remember, yes.
The question I'm going to ask you now.
Yep.
Tell us how you come to join us from Arsenal.
Okay, Dave, I'll try and keep this short, but obviously I was at Arsenal when I signed. I was about 8 and I went there in 1976. So I went there as a young lad, went through the ranks, became a schoolboy. Unfortunately, my mum became ill when I was about 13. She had some mental issues, and I actually went in a children's home for about 7 months while my mum got better. And during the time while I was there, I was still at Arsenal, still going, and Arsenal sort of looked after me with an umbrella. A bloke called Steve Birkinshaw and Terry Murphy, who were the scouts there, would come and visit me. Nothing really changed for me. I mean, I was a young lad and I was still playing football, so I wasn't really fully aware of what my mum was going through. But when she came out and she got better, I did say to myself, family's probably more important than football, so I'd always stand by my mum. Fast forward about 4 years, and I'm at Millwall, and I'm at Arsenal, still, and George Graham takes over. Now, something had happened. They would bring some riots in Peckham, Brixton. Something happened. A lady had been shot, and they were looking for her son. And George came to me. I was 18, I think, and George said, "Look, I'd like you to move out of Peckham." And I explained to him about my mum, what had gone on a few years, and he said, "Well, I still would like you to move out." And a mutual friend of ours, Kate Hoey, who became sports minister, sounds quite strange since I was living in Peckham, got me digs in North London because George thought it would be good for me. And I did go. I thought, you know what, I want to play football for Arsenal. I want to make a career. And I stayed the first night. Wasn't really happy. Stayed the second night. Was less happy. And the third night I left and I went back home. And the next day I went in training. I knew that George would call me in. And he called me in, and to this day I still remember it. He said to me, "Look, you either do it my way or no way." And I got up, I shook his hand, and I said, "I can't do it your way." I left about 3 o'clock. I came home, and by 5 o'clock, Bob Pearson from Millwall would rang me, and I had signed for Millwall. It was as simple as that. And a footnote, to be fair to George, about 4 years later, when I played in a Scottish Cup final, he sent me a telegram, and he sent me a real nice telegram, which I've got on the wall, and it said, "You should be proud of yourself, all the things you've done, your mum must be proud." And people in football will say, "That's just football, it's business, it's just the way it is." So that's how I became to join Millwall. Bob Pearson rang me that day, he said, "Come down," and I came down, and probably the best thing that happened to me.
He was a rubbish manager anyway. That George Graham. He couldn't spot talent.
He was hard though, but George was fair. He was hard, but he was fair. He was, he was hard, but he was fair. I hold no ill feeling towards George. He did what he had to do, and history shows that in '89 when they won the title and what he wanted them to do, he was vindicated and he done really well.
Yeah, very true, mate. Very true.
Yeah. Where's Stan here, mate?
Hi, Stan.
All right, yeah, I've not seen you since 2019 when we was in the executive lounge. So how's it going?
For me personally, I'm still at work. I work in a school and my school's been open all the time. But obviously I do miss the lounge. during everything that's been going on, work has sort of been just normal for me. I've just normally been going into work most days. I've been trying to keep fit the best I can, hoping that when football does start, I'll be able to put my boots on again. But generally, like everyone else, I suppose, you've just been trying to keep yourself safe and hoping that people, friends, loved one, and even people you don't know, keep themselves safe, and that we all come through this united.
You never made many appearances for us during your stay, but one game that you played in was our final game of our first season in the top flight against Southampton.
Yep.
A 1-1 draw as Terry Sheringham banged in a late equaliser.
Yep.
It was our 10th game without a win, and with some heavy losses in that period too.
Yep.
What was your memory of that game, and what was the feeling of the squad as the season ended?
Well, my personal memory was, gosh, this isn't like the reserves. You get time on the ball in the reserves. There's just a sudden feeling and a pressure in first team football that you're not experienced by playing reserve or youth team football or any other football. And my ultimate memory is that, wow, if you're going to make a career, you're going to have to work hard. The feeling amongst the squad at the time was that for most of us, nearly all of us, I think, except a few, hadn't played first division football back then. You know, a lot of the players had played at Millwall in the second division, played in lower leagues, and it's just that bit quicker at the highest level. Your touch has to be better, your thought has to be better, the pass has to be better, and when you combine all those things together, it makes it really difficult when you're playing against teams that have that quality, have that experience. And for us, we went on as you say, some heavy losses and quite a while without winning, and it was just hard to reverse that. As much as you try and you change tactics and you do different things, it's just so hard once you're in a bit of a rut to come out of it.
I think that second season there was even a bigger rut. We had one win against Manchester City, and that was in the Cup in 25 games. There was a delightful loss at some place that's got a university in it, I seem to remember. And it was from the 25 games from the end of December. Could you put your finger on what had gone wrong, and what would you say it was?
If I think by then I had my injury and I was watching a lot of games. I was watching a lot of training. I did like to watch everyone train. It made me feel a part of it. And I just think I remember there was a fear factor about it. I remember watching training and watching people like Teddy and Cass miss headers that the year before they were just burying for fun. You know, everyone became anxious, everyone became apprehensive, and your decision making somehow changes. The simple ball that you would see and play, you try to play something else, and by trying to play something else, the person you're trying to pass it to, they haven't read that because they're just thinking you're going to play the simple ball. So I think we became disjointed all around. Instead of everyone just having the confidence to play, it was just a fear factor. We had lost so many games. It was ingrained in our minds that maybe this was the next one we were going to lose. And we were trying so hard not to, that we wasn't playing the way that we thought or knew we could play. We played under the fear factor. I saw that clearly. Things that were happening and people were doing things that you wouldn't normally do. And it was just fear. It was just being in that rut of losing and not recognising how to get out of it.
We lost old Kaz earlier, didn't we? He went off to Villa as well.
Yeah.
And I don't think that helped at all.
No. When we lost the likes of Kath, we never really replaced him. So Teddy took on the mantle, and Teddy did brilliantly, honestly. And as an individual, we all know what Teddy went on to achieve. Yeah. But we had a certain camaraderie, which sometimes when you either omit, take out, sell a certain player, it drops a bit, and you need to find someone to replace him. Now, I think we brought in Paul Goddard at the time. I mean, people will laugh at Paul, but he had a good history of scoring.
Yeah, he did.
But once again, he came to Millwall, and it was a different type of atmosphere and football that he played in. We were looking for him to lead the line and get us goals. And to be fair to him, the service he was getting probably wasn't what he had been used to and the way he had been playing. It was all hands to the deck. It was all hands to the deck, and we didn't have an opportunity to have any people who couldn't pull their weight. and there were times when people were struggling, and it just brought the level of the team down. And for people like Paul, it just meant that he was never able to flourish. He was always under pressure.
It's interesting you say that, Wes, because I remember reading what Paul Goddard said, and he
Okay.
said that when he was approached by the Doc to come to Millwall, he said that Doherty said to him that he wanted to sign him because he always had a proven record. But he wanted to change the system more on the ground, and Goddard said lovely, and he said, and the problem with it was 3 weeks after signing for the club, he said they sacked the Doc. And he said, and then they were back again to playing. He said, and that was part of the problem.
Yeah, he's right. He's completely right. I mean, Doc did want to change the system. We had Teddy, we had Cass, we had two people who were world class in the air. But when you look at a lot of the teams we played against, they had defenders who were world class in the air. So we needed a plan B. We needed to be able to go long, and we needed to be able to go short. And Paul was probably a really good choice. And like you said, Doc got the sack. Bob took over for a little while. Then eventually Bruce Rioch came in, and the whole thing changed again. So he was going down a hill that was filled with jam. It was always going to be slippery for him.
Yeah. What I was going to say was, it really fascinates me because we all know that with footballers, there's a lot to do with confidence and the mental strength. Do you think throughout your football career at the time when you was playing, that the mental side of the game, in a sense, was ignored a little bit, and you was just expected to get on with it? Nobody really sort of studied it or said to you, what do we do to get out of this? Where do we take ourselves? You've all got to be individually strong. But I think people are a bit more aware about that sort of thing these days and try to do something about it. Whereas in the old days, I think it was just left to get on with it. Yeah, no, you're right, completely right. I know a few people who play football now, and I hear how they've got psychologists working with them. Something goes wrong. If they're not scoring, someone would come and sit down with them and talk them through imagery of how they score and that. I think the most sort of psychological well-being we had was a team talk before the game saying, come on, you can do this, get on with it. That was probably it, and that was most of the places. A bit like the sponge and bucket coming on when you was injured. Yeah, that would have been Doc at Millwall. Exactly, just throw that on you. I mean, in most places, football's advanced so much now. From the pitches, from the stadiums, from how clubs now view what I term as employees. When we played, we were just not commodities, but we were just players. We were called players. But now it's so much differently. They're not players. They're actually important cogs within a football club. You don't provide the facilities for them to produce what they are able of producing, they won't sign for your club. This is why a lot of clubs spend millions and millions on having perfect training grounds, great pitches, the nice gyms, the saunas, the jacuzzis, the physios, the people who cook you great meals. Everything can matter. I mean, I say this to people and I laugh now, but our food before the game, it would consist of the most ridiculous things. You would have Orney down the end of the table scoffing on a Mars bar. Nothing new there. As well as 4 pies. Exactly. and then you'd have someone having a steak, and a steak takes 5 to 6 hours to digest, and that. There was no concept of, our bodies were temples. Our bodies were just something we shoved in and we'd go out and play football and come back a bit later. But now everything is so regimented. Everything, especially when Arsene Wenger came to this country, he just changed the whole way that everyone thinks. And now it's just standard. We have a lot of coaches from abroad who take the scientific side of football a lot more serious than we did. Probably was due to when we were banned from playing European football in the late 80s because of the Heysel Stadium disaster. We missed out on a few years and everything bypassed us. We were still sort of playing the long ball and thinking we were good, but the rest of the world was getting into technological developments in football and changing the way things were. Even football boots, people wear certain football boots because it stops certain injuries. Everything can give you an advantage now. It's just incredible.
It is. Well, Wes, we look forward to seeing you back at the Den on match days.
Thank you.
But before we say goodbye, it is a tradition on the show
Yep.
that guests provide a prediction for our next match. But there ain't one. But can you tell us, who do you fancy to win the delayed European Championships of 2020?
Right, I can assure you that I've not been on any sauce and I'm totally compos mentis. I am actually saying England.
Well done, Wes.
No, I am, and I'm saying it with confidence. I think we've got a team and a bunch of players who are actually world class now. You know, and when I say the word bunch, it's not just 1, 2, or 3. We've got a bunch of players that are world class now, and I think this could be our time to actually break that hoodoo and win something major.
Well, let's be hopeful with that. Hopeful with that. You'll have to come back again and tell the listeners about what they can expect from the Matchday Executive Lounge experience. And of course, more stories about the characters from that top flight team. So until the next time, goodbye, mate. Cheers, Wes.
Been a pleasure. Thanks, gents. Yeah. Take care.
Cheers, Wes.
Wes.
You're always welcome. Thank you.
Well, wasn't that lovely listening to old Wesley Reid? He's a nice bloke.
Really good.
A
really
nice
good.
bloke.
Yeah.
No, he's
good.
I
mean, no, he's a good guy.
Well, we'll take a break there before we listen to what's going on with the Millwall Lionesses and Millwall Romans. But first, here is Bethany Warren talking about an app for the blind or partially sighted.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall Lionesses have partnered with international smartphone application Be My Eyes. Be My Eyes is an application that truly benefits the poor of sight and the blind, but is supported by those of us that can see.
You might wonder how blind people deal with everyday challenges. Well, normally the answer is simple. We're not that different from you. We play music. We go to school. We go to work. You get the picture. But sometimes the simplest things can be difficult, and we need a pair of eyes.
Connect to first available number.
That's where you come in.
Establishing video connection.
Through your smartphone, Be My Eyes connects the blind with sighted people through a live video connection. Simply choose if you need help or want to help by the click of a button.
That's a nice picture of you and your family, Caroline. Is it for a present? Yes, it's a photo from my parents.
You can help just by installing the Be My Eyes app.
Front image.
And we'll notify you when someone needs your help. And if you're in the middle of something, don't worry. Someone else will step in. So, would you care to be my eyes?
Be My Eyes is displayed on the Lionesses shorts this season. Download the app onto your smartphone now and help those that need your eyes straight away.
I'm Eamonn Barclay. I'm back with a No One Likes Us talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. I heard this last week. It's really great. Be My Eyes has 4.7 million volunteers with in excess of 300,000 blind and low vision users in more than 150 countries. And they provide that service in 180 languages. It's incredible, and what human kindness. Both the Millwall Lionesses and Romans are now playing. So let's start off with the Romans, and let's hear from John Goodyear, who played in the team that faced Soho last weekend. I spoke to him earlier. I've got John Goodyear from the Millwall Romans. I'm having to do the recording because in the absence of Tom Baker, who's still injured, there's no one else really to do it. Well, there probably is, but they'd rather leave it just to Tom when he comes back. John, great to have you on. How are you? Okay?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. And yeah, I think we can all say that we can't all match Tom's professionalism in doing the interviews. So I think we should leave it to the pros.
He's a class of his own, old Tom, no doubt about it. I hope he gets better soon. John, how long have you been with the Millwall Romans and what position do you play?
Yeah, so I started, it's over 6 years ago now, which feels like it's absolutely flown by. And I'm mostly a striker, but sometimes play on the wings as well.
What's your favourite position of those two?
Oh, definitely up front. But I think we've got two pretty good strikers. I'm sure you'll hear their names every week when they're banging in the goals. So, I tend to have to play second fiddle there.
Oh, well, the wing's not bad when you've got a prolific pair up front. So how did the Romans get on this weekend, Gon? And who scored?
Yeah, so we were playing in Hackney Marshes against Soho Freedom, and we had a good result. We ended up winning 8-1 in the end.
Goodness.
So, Bass got a hat-trick, as I say.
Right.
We've got good strikers, and Jay, who usually plays up front with him, was actually in centre midfield this time because we've got a bit of an injury crisis. Still managed to pop up with a goal. And then we had a couple of goals from defence, so Luke Shepherd and Rich Nichols.
Great.
Andy Ward came into the team and got a goal. And then one of our most passionate Millwall fans, actually, Dan Jenkins, managed to get a goal on debut. So definitely spread it around the team a bit and, managed to get a good victory in the end.
Hey, Dan Jenkins, well done, mate. A true blue. There you go. Scoring on his debut. Can't be bad at all. So, how have you found being part of the Millwall family?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things we've definitely appreciated, we noticed at the weekend when we were off at Hackney Marshes and playing on a very bobbly pitch that felt like it was the biggest opposition to us in the first half. We were definitely missing our nice smooth 4G surface, but I think just, the whole community spirit has been we've been amazed since we joined up with Millwall about how supportive everyone's been, how much the club is willing to help. We could train at the Den, and people like Dan and Bobby and some of our, massive Millwall fans on the team were just amazed by that. I mean, I was happy enough playing in a professional football stadium, and let alone them who've been going there for years. And also you just see, whenever we interact with fans, if we're in the pub after a game or, when we're talking to the Lionesses and the people who support the community trust, there's a really good feeling and a lot of goodwill to us. And I think we've really appreciated that and all the support we get in terms of, the kits, the balls, the pitch. It's all been just a massive change for us because we were saying it on Sunday when we looked at the opposition thinking that's what we used to be, just kind of on a bobbly pitch on a Sunday with, we scraped together and how far we've come since then.
Absolutely fantastic, John. I understand you just need one more point this weekend to win the league title. How does that work out?
Yeah, it's a complex one this season. I think the best way you can say it is that I had to get a spreadsheet together to work out whether or not it would be this weekend. But basically, obviously, we all know the COVID situation. So last December, they had to pause the league and teams had played a different number of games and there was quite a lot left. So what they've done is they've started a spring season. So since we started again in March, all of the 9 teams are playing each other once, which is 8 more games. And there's going to be a spring championship. But the games from the first part of the season have been carried through, and the overall league season's been decided on points per game. So based on the number of games that are left and all the results, in order for us to not get the title, we'd have to lose our next 4 games, and Stokey, who are our opponents on Sunday, would have to win all of their 4, which means that even a point in the next game means that we've secured the overall title for the season.
And what's the name of the team you're playing?
They're called Stokey, so they're based up in Stoke Newington. That's where it comes from.
Yeah, and is that home or away?
We're playing at home, thankfully.
It's given, isn't it? Yeah, I'll have to get Paul to text me as soon as the result comes in.
Definitely get the news across.
That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful, John. With games in hand, in a good position to wrap that title up yet again. Thanks for coming on. Past all our best to the team for the weekend. We'll be behind them all the way, and we look forward to hearing the report next week from the team. It's wonderful to talk to you. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, sounds good for the Romans. Only wins since returning to football. And that Jay Lamonius, I think he scored 8 goals in one game. An incredible team in the league that they're playing.
Perhaps Gary Rat should look at him, Eamonn.
Well, I think he might. And potential league champions with 4 to go. It cannot be bad at all. And then, of course, they mentioned those wonderful Lionesses who are so kind and welcoming to them. Well, Millwall Lionesses were without a game as Hutton requested to cancel at the weekend. But that won't stop us from welcoming the Lionesses skipper, the one and only Libby Stubbs, to the studio. Hello again, Libby.
Hiya, how you doing?
I think they're
Hiya,
all right.
Libby.
One of them spoke it too. Yeah. Stan? Libby's here, Stan.
Oh, yeah, okay, Libby, how are you? All right?
I'm all good, thank you.
It's past his bedtime, Libby. I'm sorry about that.
I think the problem is that him and Ted haven't been on a programme together since COVID started, because they used to have strange meetings each week to hand over equipment to use. But it's affected him in some sort of way. And yeah, Libby, I'm sorry it's not Henry who you spoke to a while back.
That's all right.
When you talked to him about the women's game and the inequality that exists in relation to the men's game. Have you seen any changes emerge since that November special, which really attracted an amazing amount of listeners?
I don't think there's been majorly any changes, mainly due to COVID, to be honest. A lot of clubs are struggling as it is, regardless. So I don't think that's helped at all. There has been obviously some big news in the women's game with regards to management. So Casey Stoney, as you might have seen, has stepped down as Manchester United's head coach. And I saw on Sky that one of the reasons may have been because of the facilities that they was given to use. And to be honest, it doesn't seem like it's changing anytime soon.
No, that's not a very positive line at all that's happened there.
Yeah, I mean, we're very, very lucky that with the facilities we get given and the support we get from the community trust and Millwall as a whole. So we're very fortunate to have everything that we've got.
Well, as Stan would say, the jewels in the crown of Millwall Football Club, eh?
Well,
Exactly.
the crown jewels.
Oh, is that
crown
what it is?
jewels? That's
okay,
it.
then. It's the crown jewels of Millwall Football Club. That's even better, I think. Yeah, that's okay then, Stan. Good.
I've not quite worked that out, whether you're the crown jewels, Libby, or the jewels, or whatever you are, but you're definitely something for us.
Could
anyway.
be jewels in the crown, in fact.
I'll take anything.
But Libby, it's been a tough season all round for football, let alone like the nation and the world as a whole and that. But as a captain of the Lionesses, I mean, how have you managed to deal with that? I'm sure the girls had the anticipation at the start of the season and everything that was going with it. Then obviously this football stopped and now it's going again. It must have been a bit of a roller coaster for yourself. And being the captain, I should imagine a few of the girls were looking to you for a bit of inspiration about getting back playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a very tough season. It's tough again to get another season null and void. But we've been working hard behind the scenes in the lockdowns and obviously out the lockdowns. So when we could play again, everyone was all very excited and to get going. And then obviously we got stopped again in around November time. So it's been tough. We've just got to keep motivation and keep knowing that we're going to get back on the pitch eventually. So we've got to keep our fitness up, and I've been trying to G the girls up and make sure everyone's on top of it.
Well, I mean, my fitness has gone way out the window. Not that I was ever fit, but through this lockdown, it's been completed. But I mean, how did that must have felt when you played the first game back after the last lockdown that we've had? It must just have made you feel like you was getting back to a little bit of normality, because that's what I want. Going back to Millwall was normal for me all my life, you know. So with yourselves and playing football, I'm sure that's how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, football is my life. I've been playing since I was 5, so that was probably the longest time I've been without playing a game. So it was tough mentally as well as physically, because you don't realise how much you lose. But to get back out on the pitch, it was an amazing feeling. Even just to get back at training and seeing all the girls and Katie and Alex and being able to be back in that team environment is a massive thing. But yeah.
Get back out there to kick someone up in the air, Libby. That's what I always used to like to do. You can tell how I played football, not very well.
No, Libby kicks the liver, Ted. Come on.
Oh, that little round thing, that's what you're supposed to kick.
That's it, yeah.
Hi, Libby. It's Dave here.
Hiya.
You've had a couple of friendly games now, and you've shown us how to compete. The 2 recent results against Alresford and the West Ham Academy, the latter of which having aspiring players for the Women's Super League, and they've been showing good form. But what has been your overall thoughts on those games that you played?
I mean, it's very, very positive. I mean, obviously, Alresford we played last pre-season, and we lost to them 2-1. So to come back and play them in this break we've had now as a friendly and beat them 4-2, it just shows what we're building at the club, and we're able to take on what we're learning in training, take that into a game environment, and I think that's the most important thing at the minute, is that we're taking what we're learning, applying it on the pitch, and just looking to improve as a squad all in all. I mean, the result against West Ham, to draw against the aspiring WSL players and be quite disappointed with the fact that we drew. We should have pushed for the win. I think that's a very positive thing to have going into the new season and pre-season.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's great.
You never lost, Libby. That's the main thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Libby. Stan here, mate. We had hoped to get down to see you before now. Hopefully that will be soon. What are your personal and team hopes for next season?
Personally, I just want to carry on improving as a player, as a captain as well, improving as a leader on the pitch and off the pitch. As a team, I think our main thing is we need to get this win of a league, and we need to get a trophy. We want some silverware. Since I've joined, both seasons have been null and void, so unfortunately we haven't been able to lift anything. So as always, our main goal is to win as much as we can, and just keep improving as a team and as individuals.
Good.
No, you'll be able to lift the fans as well soon, so that'll be no problem at all. That'll be good. Libby, but before we say goodbye, thank you for coming on. But it is a tradition on the show that guests provide a prediction for our next match. But as we ain't got one, tell us, who do you fancy to win the delayed Euro Championships of 2020?
I mean, it's got to be France. That's the obvious answer, isn't it? The players they've got in their team are just next level. So, I mean,
Libby, you was doing so well, Libby. What's gone wrong? Libby,
we've got a chance. But in reality,
but France of all people, France. Oh no.
Mind you, though, I remember. See, they won it. They won the World Cup in '98, and then when they went to defend it 4 years later, you know, everyone thought, well, France are going to be up there. They didn't score a goal and got eliminated in the group stage.
Let's be hopeful, Stan.
Yeah.
Well, I won't put a bet on it. That's at least.
No,
absolutely brilliant.
It's a fair enough choice, Libby. I've got to be honest.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's Watford ladies up next for you, isn't it?
It is, yes.
And that's going to be a bit of a test, I should think.
Yeah, it will be. Looking forward to it, and it's just unfortunate we can't have fans in. I can't wait till we can have everyone back.
And we look forward to seeing both you and the Lionesses in action soon. So that's bye for now from all of us.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye,
Libby.
Thanks, Libby.
Bye.
Thanks. Absolutely brilliant. Cheers, mate.
Bye.
See you again. Bye. Well, that was nice to speak with our Libby, our sponsored player as well, which is good, and the captain. Before our final guest joins us, we'll take a break. For now, here's Bethany Warren once again, talking about a great story that is born out of the passing of a goalkeeping star of women's football, Jordan Dawes, and her cousin's efforts to raise money in her memory.
Hi, Bethany Warren here. Millwall fans Danielle and James will be running the London Landmark Half Marathon in August, in memory of Danielle's cousin, Jordan Dawes. Listen to Danielle tell her story.
Hello, so I am running the London Landmark Half Marathon in August. While training for Tough Mudder, which I'm doing in September, I feel I got the bug for running. I wanted to give myself a challenge, and while raising money for Eleanor. Jordan's memory lives on forever, and as a family, we honour her memory by giving back to the charities that gave their care and support during the darkest of times. Jordan lost her battle to cancer in 2019. She was a keen footballer, playing for the likes of Charlton Athletic, Dillingham, and ending her football career at Kent Football United. One of the most memorable times for me and the family when watching Jordan play was when she actually saved a penalty in a cup final, leading Kent Football United to win. She was an infectious person to be around. Her smile lit up the room. She was keen in talking to James about Millwall. She would come with us as of when she can. And the last game that she actually went to was the FA Cup game against Everton, where Millwall actually spoilt her, made her feel really special. She was able to meet some of the players, have her pictures taken with the keeper at the time, and was actually given the treatment of being able to go into the exec lounge as well. The way that people can donate, and we really would appreciate if anyone can, big, small, whatever it is through my pinned tweet on Twitter. My Twitter handle is DannyL1206, and that is DANNIL1206. Or you can go through Just Giving website, that is justgiving.com/fundraising/Jordan Dawes half marathon. Just want to thank everyone for taking the time to listen and anyone that donates. So thank you.
What a story, and what a lovely couple Danielle and James are in doing this together. So if you can help, you can just put James and Danielle fundraising for Eleanor, that is ELLENOR, into your browser, and the Just Giving page will be shown. I'll say that again. Just put James and Danielle fundraising for Eleanor, that is ELLENOR, into your browser, and the Just Giving page will be shown. Thank you. A link will also be in our announcements on Facebook and Twitter.
Well, I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with a No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. Eleanor is a Kent-based hospice care service who for children and young adults extends to the London Borough of Bexley. They're the only charity in the country who provides hospice care for people of all ages, and this care includes the widest range of responses possible. If you can support Danielle and James's efforts in memory of Millwall fan Jordan, you will make a difference. Our final guest tonight is a Millwall fan, man and boy. He is becoming a regular voice to our listeners, not only on this show, but also on the podcast Real Fans No Filter, which can be found on the Facebook site of the same name. Forrest Hill, educated young man, has never shied away from a challenge. He is recorded as sinking a yard of ale in 30.4 seconds. That's 0.2 seconds faster than you, Ted, I think. and when he appeared with Tess Daly, and you have never done that, Ted, I know that much.
No.
and Brian Dowling on ITV's Saturday Morning TV Live, he defeated the hapless Brian Dowling. You know, they used to ask all those questions and that. 7-3. And then went for the killer question. Well, the rest is history as we welcome friend of the show, Sam Gardiner. Hello, Sam. How are you?
Oh, Guy, that's got me giggling, I must say, lads. Hello, how are you?
How you doing, Sam?
I said last time, I said I needed a new gig, and you certainly gave me one there. That was unexpected.
I reckon someone might have prompted that one, but I'll leave that to your imagination. Yeah. But yeah, that was good. Sam, can you remember the killer question that Tess asked you?
I remember most of the questions, actually. Yeah, I remember it. I'd expect you guys to get this, actually. Who wrote the James Bond books?
Stan will give you 3 answers to that.
3 answers? Oh, that's a new one.
Well, these days, there's more than just one answer. When Brian Dowling answered, there was only one.
This would have been about 19 years ago, so...
Yeah.
2001.
Right.
So, who was it 19 years ago, Stan?
You know what, the name escapes me.
Yeah,
it's
it was me,
Ian
Sam.
Fleming coming.
That's
Ian
Fleming.
God, dear.
I said that half hour ago.
Yeah, never mind. That's all right. I wasn't listening. I was thinking about you drinking a yard of ale.
So was I after you mentioned it, yeah.
Do you know what? That actually popped up on Facebook today, actually. That was at a street party we used to have when we lived in Penge. Yeah, that was I beat the nearest competitor by about 22 seconds, so that's one of my achievements.
Oh, well, we'll have to get a session between you and Ted, because he's renowned for speed with a yard of ale. When he does the yard of Guinness, it's unbelievable.
Where are you going to be in half hour, Ted?
At the bottom of a yard of hell.
Wonderful. Great memories.
They are indeed.
Anyway, Stan. Oh, hello, Sam. It's Stan here.
I'll tell you what. Tonight has been unbelievable.
Stan's already done the yard.
I must have done about 4 yards in my head listening to you, I reckon. Anyway. Right. Who has stood out for you as our most improved player this season, and was Bart your player of the season?
Well, yeah, Bart was my player of the season. I'm a keeper, so, I mean, even if I wasn't, I think he's just... If you used to add up the amount of points, he's probably won us compared to other players. If you look back and look to big moments, I think he's, without doubt, probably won us the most points. So to look at it from that perspective, I think that's a good way to look at it. I'd say most improved, even though he's been injured, and I think we've actually missed him when we picked up after October, and then after that bad run, we went on a bit of a roll. Leonard. I think Leonard's been our most improved player. I think I mentioned him on previous shows. He frustrated me very much in previous seasons. Called for his head even. But I think he's been our most improved player. He's that one that outside the box you think someone's going to pop it in the top bins, him or Jed. He's shown that he's quite versatile. So, yeah, I'd say without any doubt he's been our most improved, in my opinion.
Hello, Sam. It's Dave here.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, mate. Okay. A lot of our fans have been calling for younger players to be blooded since we secured our championship status. Do you go along with that view? If not, why not?
Yes and no. I think it's actually something that gets spoken about most seasons if you're not in a relegation battle and you're not fighting for something in the latter part of the stage, it always gets spoken about. And I think there has been a few. Billy Mitchell's, he's come through after his injury. I think he's going to play a bigger part next season. There's obviously names of people that haven't, but I trust the manager. Do you know what I mean? I trust the manager. He's a good manager. He knows his football, and I think if he thought they were ready, or even to have a run out, he would have given it to them. It's maybe he just doesn't think they've developed enough just yet. But yeah, it's always nice to see a couple more. But I don't blame him for not maybe throwing in Hayden Muller or a couple of others. I don't blame him. If he doesn't think they're ready, then they're not ready.
Yeah, I think you called that right.
It's nice to see.
I like that, Sam. I said something similar the other week. My opinion of it is that they've got to get into the team in merit, regardless of what age they are. In other words, he sees them week in, week out. If they're not performing well enough in training and that, then I don't think they just go in there because of their age. That's just me. I've always been the same. I know there's times to give them a chance, but I still think they've got to earn it. But talking about this season, Sam, we was talking earlier in the day about what success might be or whatever. We finished mid-table. How do you see it in yourself? Do you think it was a decent season? Are you disappointed with the season? I think it's a hard one to judge because of COVID, but what do you reckon, mate?
Look, again, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again. When I look at these situations, I'm always ever the optimist. Granted, you can look at it and think, cool, there are times we could have picked up a few more points and we really could have had a little run at the playoffs. But again, it's the longest time we've been in the Championship consecutive seasons for quite a number of years now. Certainly, I think we've already, probably in my lifetime, actually, I don't think I've seen us for 4 seasons or so in the Championship without getting relegated once. We've drawn a lot of games. That's my thing here. Just like last season. If we'd finished bottom half, maybe to closer to the bottom of the table, and a lot of those 17 draws were defeats, we'd probably be looking at next season, how can we improve? Turn some of those defeats into points and get another 10 points on the board. But now you look at it as, right, we've finished halfway up the league, in the top half, you've drawn 17. If you can do that again and keep solid at the back, get something up front and turn 5 of those 17 into wins, you make the playoffs. So I look at it like that. I think it's a solid, stable season, actually improved after a trickier start. So a couple of tweaks, and why not? The Championship's not as strong as other years. That's why it's getting more and more. Any team can beat any team. You go on a run at the right time, you're going to be there or thereabouts. Barnsley have done it. We've done it before. It's all about timing. But there's no one that's really... There's not been a solid 7-8 clubs that have been floating around the top 6 for a while. Anyone can get in there at the moment, I feel. So,
Just a quick follow-up, Sam. You goalkeeper, as you say, we're looking for a backup to Bart. I always think it's important that the backup's someone that pushes the number one. Mentioning George Long today of Hull. What do you reckon about that? And also Joe Lumley, the QPR guy, was mentioned.
Yeah, I don't. I've seen. I'm going to be honest. The first guy, Hull, I'm not going to pretend I've seen a lot of him, but certainly Lumley I've seen, and I think he'd be maybe a number two than perhaps Fielding was. Obviously had a lot of injuries, and I agree. I think you want to get a goalie that is good enough that wants to play, but is going to maybe accept to play in all the cup competitions, perhaps, because there's enough of them. Do you know what I mean? If you can go on a little run here and there, then you can say to a keeper, there's your opportunity. Give yourself a shot. But I can't. In all honesty, put me on the spot. I can't really think of a keeper right now. I'll have to come back to you on that one. Perhaps I'll have a little look into it for the next show.
Well, at least you never said Jordan Archer anyway. Thanks for that. That's special.
No, but I will give him a mention today because was it 4 years since Wembley, Bradford,
yes,
and
true,
that
true.
save. He deserves a mention for that save.
He does. He does.
Because we wouldn't be. We pretend very good chance we wouldn't be where we are today. We've been in the Championship since then. So, yeah, he was.
That's very true.
Yeah, I'll back the goalies up in that instant always.
Yeah.
When I've been watching Jordan Archer playing recently, he's still making the same mistakes that the same sort of things that cost goals for the teams. Do you think it's hard for a goalkeeper to actually get out of making regular mistakes?
I tell you what, right? This is I'm going to be honest with you guys now. I'm playing my first full season in quite a number of years in 11 aside, and I'm getting right into it. Got that buzz back, and all these keepers are extremely agile, extremely athletic. There's not a great deal between many of them, in my eyes, in the Championship. They're all predominantly great shot stoppers. They're getting better with their feet. I see goalies 95% mental. I can't.
Well, they are mental.
I made a couple of good saves up there. They made a howler, which let this team back into a game. I let this team back into the game, and it's the first time in 15 years my heart was going. And it's such a mental thing for a goalkeeper. When you're on form, you want the ball to come to you. You want to make a save and have an impact in the game. When you make a mistake, you don't want that ball near you. You want your defenders to have the best game of their life, so it's not coming anywhere near you, even if it's to make a normal save. So, when you've got that kind of scarring from previous errors, it doesn't go away.
Always been the same, Sam. A centre forward could miss an open goal and everyone forgives him. You let one through your legs, you're in trouble, mate.
Exactly that. And you could have an 89 minutes leading up to it, and then, you're remembered for that. So, yeah. And like I say, the goalies that have made more mistakes over their careers, you've got kind of more mental scars, it comes back. So, he's got a good few scars, Archer. So, yeah, that's probably why.
Sam, what do you reckon needs to happen ahead of our return to the Championship in terms of even retaining our status or even challenging for a promotion?
Well, I think it's got to be, based on the point I just made a moment ago, that we've had a couple of solid seasons, two or three solid seasons out of the last four in the Championship. We need to make sure we can keep solid at the back, because even though you've got a lot of stick, and I can admit, even though I was a positive on the season, that some of the football wasn't great to watch, but I backed him and I said, he's playing to his strengths. Our strengths is our defence, and you work from there. So as long as we can keep that solid and eradicate the odd 6-1 to Coventry here and there, and those kind of results, then it's got to be attacking. It's easier said than done. Every season, we need a striker, but if we're willing to, if we can put his hand in his pocket, we know he's not going to go mental, but get someone that's had a couple of seasons in the Championship, perhaps, with as much of a record as we can afford, I suppose, and hope we can be a bit better in the final third. I think if we're better in the final third and we're solid at the back, we're going to be there or thereabouts. Top half, pushing for top six. That's, I think.
I reckon you're about right there. It has been a long time since we've actually had a proper Championship striker. In fact, the last one was Darius Henderson. Alan Dunn was very clear last week when he said, we're good at getting strikers, but not for the Championship,
I think you also have to look at someone creative as well, because strikers get a lot of stick, but if they're not getting the service, they can't score goals. And
Most certainly.
I think what was coming to, Sam, was the point that you made about Rowett playing to his strengths. His strengths last year within our squad was definitely defensive-wise.
Yeah.
And we relied on the odd bit of brilliance here and there from Jed and maybe Mason Bennett come into his own. I think we just need a little bit more of a creative spark around the middle of the park. And maybe even the strikers that we have got would score a few more goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to see perhaps Woods, if he's going to be playing, to be a little bit more, give him a go a little bit more further up the pitch and see if he can make those short, little sharp passes that sometimes he doesn't get the attention he deserves, perhaps because they're maybe to the side or just 7 or 8 yard passes in and around the centre of the pitch, but playing that through ball to someone. Because I remember when he played for Brentford, I'm sure he'd run that. I'm sure he was a little bit further up the pitch because he was dropping in sometimes, but he was playing through balls and putting it out wide. Just kind of not the number 10 position by any stretch, but just a little bit deeper in the hole.
Yeah,
be interested to see him play there.
He's shown that he can do it in some
games,
games,
definitely.
But it's not enough of it. What I'd like to see is the ratio of chances per striker and how many they put away. Because we've always about Tom Bradshaw. Tom Bradshaw runs himself into the ground for us when he plays in it. And people say, he can't. I'd like to see how many actual clear-cut chances Tom Bradshaw has had and how many of them he's put away. Because that's what you judge.
Not many.
You judge not many. No. That's what I mean. If his ratio per chance per goal scored is good, then you just got to create more chances for him, haven't you?
That's been our problem all season, isn't it? I mean, the forwards didn't have any decent service. Old Bradders in the last couple of games, for the first time he had some decent service, and he was putting them away. I mean, that's been the problem. Plus the injuries and whatever, but. If we can get a forward who can put the ball in the net and whatever, I reckon we'll be okay.
Yeah. Sam, it's been great to catch up with you once again. But as you know, before we say until the next time, it is a tradition for all guests to give us a prediction for the next game. But there ain't one. So tell us who and why you fancy them to win the delayed European Championships of 2020.
Do you know what? If I'm being honest, I think France are going to win it. But I do most certainly think if I was to have to bet a lot of money for whatever reason, I would go for France. That is not to say I do not believe that we have the potential to win it. If we turn up our day, we can certainly beat any team in that competition with the players we have. I really hope Southgate plays Grealish, plays Foden, plays Mount, finds a way, and really goes for it. I doubt it, but I think with this talent and the pace that we have and the skill and the flair, we have to go for it. If we're going to lose to someone, don't lose by not giving it your absolute effort trying to score a goal. I'd rather go out and concede 2 and win, if you can get what I'm saying. So it's a tough one. I do think I can't see past. I don't think Germany are there at the moment. I don't think Spain are there at the moment. I really think it's going to be England or France. But if I had to bet on one of the two, it'd be France.
You've got France in your head.
Yeah.
You've got England in your heart. So
I've got England half in my head. Half in my head.
If
I can put it like that. It's not just my heart. There's logic behind seeing us.
Okay.
If we turn up, we
so it'll be
challenge.
Left-hand side or right-hand side of your brain. That's what we got to work out. But anyway, Sam, thanks for coming on. We wish you all the best.
Thanks for having me.
Send our regards to friend of the show, your mum Jackie, and we'll give you a shout and hope to have you back again.
And I hope to see you guys at the Den soon. Hopefully that won't be too long.
Yeah.
A couple of months, maybe 2-3 months.
Allegedly.
And when England win the Euros, Sam, and Millwall get promoted to the Premier League, we'll definitely have a yard of ale. All right, mate.
Just the one, Ted.
Just to start off with.
Yeah. Sounds like a plan. But thanks for having me on, guys.
Bye for now, Sam. Ta-ra, mate.
Cheers,
Bye.
Cheers, Sam.
Take
Thanks
care.
a lot.
Bye for now. See you later.
Ta-ra, Sam.
Well, that was Sam. Always a live wire and entertaining. But we'll take a break there for a message from Patricia Maslin with an introduction from that Wembley mascot, Harvey Brown.
Harvey Brown here. I missed my football at the Den. Did you know Millwall Community Trust are continuing to help people of all ages from different walks of life and are doing so much good in these tough times. But they need our help. Here's Patricia to tell you more.
Oh, thank you for that intro, Harvey. Millwall Community Trust appreciates your support. You are a star. The Millwall Community Trust, MCT, have launched a bursary fund to tackle financial hardships. The bursary fund has been put in place to aid individuals participating in an MCT activity or programme. The funds will be awarded to help further an individual's career and potential at MCT. Sean Daly, CEO of the Trust, said, "Funds raised from our fundraising events and donations from supporters of the Trust will support the MCT's bursary, which will in turn offer financial support to participants on our programmes. For example, helping with travel expenses so they can attend, providing clothing for young people, or paying for a haircut for an interview." Jubin Sarami, who was part of the initial fundraiser for the fund, said, "It was amazing to be able to raise funds for and launch our bursary fund. We achieved this with support from our amazing fans who took part in a month-long virtual race around Europe between all the host Euro 2020 cities. Our fantastic fans ran, cycled and walked nearly 6,000 miles. Thanks to them, we were able to smash our fundraising target." The bursary fund will be open to all participants of Millwall Community Trust programmes. We are really excited to launch the project and will always welcome donations. For further information about the bursary, please email Sean Daly, that is SDALY at millwallcommunity, all one word, .org.uk. If you wish to make any donations, insert Millwall Community Trust into your internet browser, click on Donate, either on the browser page or on the header of the MCT website. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Patricia. I'm Eamonn Barclay, and I'm back with the No One Likes Us Talking team of Dave Hart, Stan Godwin and Ted Robinson. People's lives are still being lost to this dreadful virus or a consequence of suffering with it. Infections are continuing to rise slightly at the moment, and people continue to be hospitalised. Our thoughts go out to the victims, their families, friends, and those that take care of them.
There are so many fans who want to support the club, and for now you can simply make a donation when you renew your season ticket. All the details and more can be found on the Millwall website. Don't forget the Super Saver period has now ended, but the Saver period has begun with adult prices reduced by 48% and under sixes reduced by 86%. This still guarantees you good value for money on your season ticket, and it ends on the 30th of June 2021. It ends on the 30th of June 2021. With purchases still available online and by phone only. Sponsorship packages will soon be announced along with other commercial opportunities, so watch out on the club website for further details. Lastly, Husky bundles are available to pre-order in the Lions store, consisting of a 12-pack of Husky's original chocolate drink and a signed limited edition Husky baseball cap. Don't delay and get your order in today. The caps are signed by one of the 5 first-team squad members, Billy Mitchell, Danny McNamara, Mason Bennett, Jed Wallace or Bartosz Białkowski. That's good night from me.
Next Friday, Eamonn returns to host the penultimate show of the season with Gary Staff, George Lampy and Henry Morgan. But before I go, let's not forget Michael Cole, 36, a lifelong Lions fan and son of former Millwall employee Mark. Had been given 2 months to live but is currently in Guy's Hospital and receiving morphine and radiotherapy, which along with the chemotherapy could extend his life for a year. However, Michael's friend Kevin Lott is raising money for Michael to be able to afford private treatment, which could give him the opportunity to live for many more years. Any donation, big or small, would be a huge help towards Michael's treatment and as appreciated by his family and friends. For more information, to donate, insert fundraiser by Kevin Locke. Supporting Mike Cole into your browser and a link will appear to where you can make a donation. Good night from me.
Don't forget, Millwall Lionesses and Romans are now playing football under the current restrictions. We are awaiting details of when fans may attend. The Lionesses are having open training sessions for prospective new first-team players, which commenced on the 7th of April. You will need to register interest on a form, which is available on their Facebook or Twitter sites to attend. Millwall Romans return to playing and training, and potential joiners are welcome. Make contact through either their Facebook or Twitter sites. Both teams train and play their home games at that most excellently managed Millwall Community Trust site at St Paul's Sports Ground, Salter Road, Rotherhithe, and you could be playing there too. And it's good night from me.
Lastly, let's not forget to keep it safe on the streets out there. Follow the lockdown 3.0 reducing guidance, social distancing when outside and a face mask where necessary. That's it from me. Thanks to Dave, a stone's throw from the New Cross to London Bridge Railway, to Stan the man and his microphone, and to Ted the computer Robinson. Until the next time, that's good night.
Oh dear.